This is Weekend Winners, proudly brought to you by One Equine for the equine athlete. We're back at Albion Park on Saturday night, a good race night as well. Not only does it coincide with Inter-Dominion Grand Finals night in Sydney at Menangle, but it's Christmas Cup's race night coming through on Saturday night. The Trotters Cup is race 4, the Pacers Cup is race 5. We've also got the Members Cup as well. So that's all in front of us. It's a strong card, 9 in total, and we start at 5:37. In this edition of Weekend Winners, we're going to track down Angus, Garrard and Adam Richardson. Christmas Cup race night, Albion Park, Saturday night. Angus, Garrard with a really good book of drives, in particular with those two features, the Pacers Cup and the Trotters Cup, and he's in the hot seat with us now. Angus, appreciate the time.
No worries, Chris. Thanks for having me.
You're in good form. Let's hope it continues on Saturday night. We start with race 1, number 12, the Mighty Mondo. What are the expectations for you here with this horse from this really awkward draw on paper?
Look, to tell you the truth, I don't know a lot about him, but, just having a quick look, he seems a horse that can do things wrong, but, when he gets it right, he seems to be have his fair share of ability. So, first of all, we'll just try and get around in one piece and do everything right. And then after that, it looks a fairly even race, so we'll just see if we can get a slice of luck somewhere.
Okay. His overall record reads quite okay. He's an 8 times winner. He's got a PB of 55 too. Had a recent trial at Marburg. Not sure how we sort of read into those trials at Marburg, but I think there is some obvious ability there.
Yeah, that's right. As I said, when he seems to do everything right, he seems to be sort of close or around the money all the time. So, I think if we can get him to do everything perfectly on Saturday night, I think he's in with a shot at his best. Yeah,
and a good point you raised. There's no standout performer in this field. It looks really open.
No, it is very even across the board. Probably the horse that gets the best trip is going to be the one that bobs up to win this.
Okay, well, that's race 1. Let's go across to race 3. Number 3 is Your Drive, Parama. He's going for 4 straight wins. Are you surprised at all with his sudden form surge? He is low flying right now.
Look, I'm not really surprised, to be honest. I drove him sort of earlier in the year, just before I went to Sydney, and he raced really good on the front end over the mile, and then obviously I went away, and his form probably looked a little patchy then, but he was sort of racing sort of in different grades and over the trip a few times and drew awkwardly, where sort of, Riley's got him placed in the right spots now where he draws good over the short trip and sort of generally doesn't back him up too quick, and it seems to suit him down to the ground. Okay, so I'm reading too much into it if I say he was waiting for you to return from that Sydney campaign to drive him, because since you've been back from Sydney, you've had 3 drives on him for 3 wins. Oh, I'd like to think that, but I might be taking too much credit.
I tell you what, his last start performance was really good. He rated 52. He finished off in 54.9. Did he feel as good as he looked there?
Yeah, he did, Chris. He's really flying. He probably needed a little bit of confidence back too. He's an older horse and he's been around a fair bit now, but probably a few wins on the trot, and he's just sort of full of himself and ready to roll.
All right. Well, that was a veterans race. This is a Band 5 race that he faces Saturday night. He's drawn well, Gate 3. It's a mile, which is his pet trip. The obvious question, can he lead?
Yeah, I think he can, Chris. I think it'd take a very, very fast one to hold him. And I know sort of Mosdale Terry can get out quite hard, but I think, I'd be surprised if I couldn't cross him, and even if I couldn't, I'd be surprised if he wasn't happy to follow me.
And this is something that you can't control, but he seems like he'd be the ideal horse to follow.
Oh, for sure. He's sort of always there at the top of the straight, even when he gets beat. So, he's been going better than ever of late, and I can't see why you wouldn't want to sit on his back. Okay, so main rivals here, Racing Time, who's got Barrier 1, Mosdale Terry, who's fresh up here but consistent, and Collector Dime went really well last week. Do they look the obvious threats here? Yeah, it looks that way on paper. Racing Time probably looks like he'll get buried. Mosdale Terry's he's got great ability when he's right, but, I don't know whether we've seen the best of him for a little while, I guess. We're in the right form and in the right headspace, so we'll see if we can do it again. All
right, well, that's race 3, number 3, Parama. Let's go to race 4. Get used to it. This is the Christmas Trotters Cup. We spoke recently about this guy. You gave him a big tick. He delivered when he won there that Saturday night when we spoke on Weekend Winners. So 7 from 12 this season, 6 from 8. He just looks like he's getting better and better.
Yeah, that's fair to say, Chris. You know, we obviously thought he was very talented, and he just keeps stepping up. You know, that last start win at Albion Park, sort of stepping up to Saturday night grade. He was super professional, stepped super, landed the front comfortably, and you know, when I asked him to zip up off the turn, he was super sharp.
Yeah, and that's not underplaying it. 27.9. It's rare to see the trotters sort of break 28, but he did it easily. Conditions that night were awful, and the form out of that race looks really strong. There's been a few winners out of that race, so it's just tick, tick, tick here for Get Used to It.
Yeah, for sure. You know, as you say, it's rare to see the trotters sort of break 28. And especially on like the Saturday night races, because generally they're sort of late in the night and the track's a bit looser and things like that. So, you know, it was a very pleasing result last time.
All right. Is this his toughest test to date in saying that? This looks like it's a good challenge.
Oh, for sure. It's a massive step up and a big field and you know, you see horses like Gus in there this week and they're obviously, we know how talented they are. So it'll be a good test for him, but I certainly don't think it's out of his reach, put it that way.
Okay, let's talk about the start here. So you're drawn on the front, but towards the outside. Is that good for Get Used to It? Just that little bit of room to move early?
Yeah, that's ideal. You know, he's ROD from the stand, sort of by design. We can just let him do his own thing, and that's when he's happiest, you know, when he's just comfortable and we can leave him alone early. So that's his best spot, and when he's right, he's very fast away naturally, so it sort of doesn't bother him anyway.
What about the trip, 2,600? It looks like he'll run 3,600. Does it matter the trip for him?
No, I don't think so. He's always been a horse that's sort of felt like he'd run any trip, and Darren and Kylie have always had the opinion that he's very strong, and his work sort of shows that. So I don't think the 2,600 will be any bother to us.
Okay, I want to get your thoughts on Gus here. You trialled against Gus just last week with Cat's Eye Beach. Were you surprised Gus got as close as what he did that day to Cat's Eye Beach?
Oh, I don't know whether I'd say I was surprised. I think everyone knows how good he can be. You know, I sort of had a front row seat to it in that trial and got a pretty good look at him. So, you know, it's obviously probably disappointing for his connections that he's probably here and not in Sydney on Saturday night. So, you know, if he's 100%, he's obviously the hardest to beat by a long way, but we'll see how we go.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. That's a good trot race, race number 4, the Christmas Trotters Cup. What about the Pacers Cup, which is race 5? Classy Washington, your drive. He draws barrier 1, so finally he gets a draw. Was that music to your ears?
Oh, for sure. You know, we were expecting the normal 6 or 7, so it was definitely a blessing when the draw came out.
Okay, tell us about his recent trial. Were you happy? Did he do what you wanted him to do in that trial?
Yeah, he was really good. You know, we just wanted sort of a little tick over run, seeing he hadn't had a start for a little while, sort of, and that was by design. We wanted to freshen him up a little bit before this race, so I was happy with the way he trialled. He's a horse that only really does what he has to anyway, and probably after the line was when he felt the strongest when that one came off his back. So really pleased, and his work's been good since.
Okay, so he's got barrier 1, he's got very good early speed. How much early pressure do you think you're going to cop here?
Oh, there might be a little bit, but you know, I think we're probably the most proven stayer, to be honest. We led over 2,600 in Inter-Dominion heat this time last year, and only just got beat by Better Eclipse, and you know, there's no Better Eclipse in this race, so I think he should be sort of hard to beat, and hopefully he's got a little bit of respect early to stop those ones sort of taking too much out of us, I guess.
If you could only nominate one, who's the horse to beat in your opinion?
I think Always Smoking. You know, whether he's sort of at his absolute best right now, I'm not too sure. You know, that sort of probably seems a bit rough seeing the way he won last time out. But, you know, he's probably sort of the next horse that shows that he can stay quite well. And, you know, I think the 2,600 can sort a few of them out.
Yeah, it's a good lineup though, isn't it?
It is. It's quite even. You know, I don't think there's any real standout. and I think it'll be quite a competitive race.
Okay, speaking of competitive, the next race, the Creek Members Cup, I think this is going to be a really good race. You're driving R11 Art. I think he's some sort of chance in this race. Hasn't had a great deal of luck. Last week he ran into Duke of Scotland. Do you give him some sort of hope here?
Yeah, look, at his best, I think he's in it up to his ears, but you know, he's sort of got to race up to his potential, I guess. I was really disappointed with him last time out, to be honest. I wasn't really expecting him to beat Duke of Scotland, but I would have liked him to run second. But, you know, we've made a few changes this week, and hopefully he races a lot better on Saturday night.
Okay, so with the 4 runs back in Brisbane following that Sydney stint, you just don't think he's as sharp as what he can be?
No, look, I was quite happy with him his first 2 or 3, but just last week, you know, I thought he really should have run second. You know, his sectionals probably weren't really as good as I thought they should have been, but you know, they were sound without being as good as I thought they should be. So, you know, with those few gear changes and things this week, I think he should race a lot better.
Okay, you've got a kind draw here, so if the emergency comes out, you'll start from gate 3. Do you want to be aggressive and get handy early?
Yeah, I think we've got to be positive. It's a long way to go back in a full field. So, you know, whether we get hyper aggressive or not, we'll just have to wait and see when the gate leaves. But I definitely would sort of like to take up a forward spot at least.
All right. Your final drive on Saturday night is race 8, and it's highly respected. Who's drawn gate 8 inside of the second row. This looks a really open race. How do you rate her chances?
Yeah, I think she'll race quite well, Chris. I think she's been sort of racing really good her last few and hasn't had much luck. Didn't have much luck last start anyway. So, you know, this is sort of a significantly weaker field, I think, on paper. So, I think if she races at her best, she'll be right there.
Do you think you'll be leaders back or 3 fence?
Oh, look, I probably think 3 fence, but, you know, I wouldn't rule out the one holding up. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. But going well enough to score?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, what's the pick of your drives here on the weekend? There's a few to choose from, but which one are you most keen on?
Look, I think it's hard to split Get Used to It in Classy Washington. I think Classy Washington gets the draw, and hopefully we can take advantage of that. But Get Used to It's obviously very exciting, and it'll be good to see him step up in grade again. Yeah, 2 excellent chances, no question about it. We wish you all the very best of luck. Appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside. No worries. Thanks, Chris.
Christmas Cups race night, Saturday night, Albion Park. Adam Richardson with a good book of drives, in particular in those 2 feature races, the Trotters Cup and the Pacers Cup. He joins us now. He's in the hot seat. Adam, appreciate the time.
No drama, Chris.
Smooth overarm, race 1, number 1. Importantly, he's got a draw this week. He had the wrong gate last week.
Yeah, he did. I was still quite happy with his run. He just sort of hung the bend a little bit last week and lost momentum, but he still went quite good.
How does this field stack up compared to last week's race? Does it look a little easier compared to last week or about the same?
It's probably about the same. Maybe not as much pressure early, but yeah, it's still on par with last week.
Okay. He's got early speed. Do you want to try and use it and stay handy? Do you want to lead? How are you sort of thinking this race plays out early?
Yeah, look, we will run the arm and sort of weigh up our options, but I think having a forward position would be good for him.
Okay. Would you prefer him at the mile or 2100? It doesn't really matter with him.
I don't think it really matters with him. He's an old horse and he's been there and done it all.
Okay, well that's race 1, number 1, Smooth Overarm. Let's go across to race 4. This is the first of our features. This is the Trotters Christmas Cup. He's an intriguing horse in many ways, this guy. I'm sure he's frustrating in many ways as well for you guys. Love Gun. What do we expect with Love Gun in this field? He's good enough to be a real threat in this race, but how do you see it with Love Gun?
He is for sure, as we've seen, like his trials. He's a trial specialist, really. You know, if he puts it all together, he's right there in the mix. He's probably one of the better ones up here in Queensland if he does everything right.
So is it just a case he knows the difference between trial day and race day?
Not 100% sure. We've been tampering with some gear with him at home and things, and hopefully we've got him right now.
Okay. He got into trouble last time out, but leading into that run, he produced an unbelievably good trial. He ran second. They went 55-2, and he was up against the Pacers. Did you walk away that night thinking we've finally got him sorted?
I did, yeah, definitely.
And then he comes out and gallops. So he's been back to the trials since. He's had 2 more trials. Has he pleased you with those trials?
He has for sure. Even his last trial again against the Pacers, they ran good time again. Sort of the track was thrown back a bit, so I just kept him wide and on his own, just made sure he'd done everything right, and he really impressed me.
Okay, so just with those two recent trials, was there any sort of noticeable difference in either trial, or he sort of felt the same, did the same in both trials?
He sort of felt the same in both. Sort of, you know, what we've come to realise is you've just got to keep him happy. You know, you can't sort of make any sudden moves or, you know, try and put him where you want him. He's just got to keep him happy.
Just looking at his form card, in his last 3 starts, in between those 3 starts, he's had something like 9 trials.
Yeah.
He's frustrating, isn't he?
Very, very.
But he's got ability, so that's why you guys keep persevering, obviously.
100%, like you've seen in his trials, like he can actually do it when he wants to.
Okay, so this field is not beyond his reach. If he went out there and was on his best behaviour, he could easily measure up here and shake the life out of this race.
100%, yeah, and he's got a real good turn of foot and can maintain that speed. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he does do everything right that he'd be right in the money.
Okay, he starts off 10 metres and he's drawn down on the inside. Could that be a good thing for him that he's drawn to follow out, or does he just get a little claustrophobic? What are you expecting here at the start?
I'm not 100% sure. I actually haven't driven him off a stand before. So, yeah, well, just another one. We'll see what sort of happens early. I'd probably rather be in the running line so I can sort of make a move if I need to keep him happy. But, yeah, we'll just see how it pans out.
So could that be a good thing then, that you haven't driven him behind the tape, so you just go up there with no real expectations and he might just be able to just go away and just feel happy doing what he's meant to be doing?
100%. I think I'll just let him tell me what to do.
All right, well, that's the Trotters Cup. He's an intriguing horse, no question. Love Gun. What about in the Pacers Christmas Cup? Northview Hustler. As we know, he's an old marvel, this guy. Keeps on keeping on. What did you make of last week?
I was quite happy with last week. Sort of a bit short going into it. He hadn't raced for a little while, and he's a horse that, you know, sort of likes to race week to week. Brenny gave him a good trial, and he might have just been a little bit flat from that, but still I was quite happy. Had to move a bit earlier than I wanted to. And, you know, it was a good last half and he wasn't far away.
Yeah, that trial, that was a solid trial, wasn't it? He went a tick over 51 there, so you obviously wanted to give him like a race day experience, but maybe it just went a little too far.
Yeah, maybe, but I think this week, you know, we've sort of got him on song. From the gate, we'll just go back and drive him for luck, and we know he can turn it on when he needs to in the straight, so we'll see what happens.
You probably didn't want gate 7, I'm tipping.
No, definitely not.
He doesn't seem to draw well, does he?
He doesn't, no, that's for sure.
Okay, so Classy Washington perched up in gate 1, gate speed horse. Do you think he's the leader in this field?
Yeah, look, I'd like to think so. I think if he tries to push through and lead, a couple of McMullen runners will be going forward, and I think there'll be good tempo, which will suit us if that's the case.
Okay. It's a good field, isn't it?
It is, for sure, yep.
All right, but you're expecting better this week from the Hustler?
Definitely, yeah.
All right. Race 6, this is the Members' Cup. Obi-Wan, beautifully driven last week, went straight back, straight up along the inside. He's got that amazing change-up speed. What do you do from gate 11 here on the weekend?
I think we're just going to have to do the same as what Chloe done last week. Like you say, it was a brilliant drive and sort of just driven more for luck, and, you know, he produced the goods in the end. So I think we're going to have to sort of drive the same way and just see how it pans out.
Okay. That speed that he's got, it's a little underrated. He can really ping for 200 metres, can't he?
He can for sure, yeah, and he showed that the other night.
Yeah. So with this race being really open as well, there's no standout horse in it. It's going to generate pressure. So that's what you're hoping for. The harder they go, the better?
That's right, yeah.
All right, well, that's Obi-Wan. Who do you think the horse to beat in that field is? Do you think it'll be Mickey Magic, Bronski Zulu, Ironclad, or is there something else in that field? Maybe Al Benson drawn 1?
Probably Mickey Magic, I think, sort of the form suggests. You know, he's done quite a good job since going to Pete and Chantel, so, yeah, I reckon it's probably the one to beat.
All right. We've got the Members' Cup Consolation as race 7. You're driving Tozzy's Son. Just beaten last week, draws the inside gate here. How are the confidence levels with this race?
Yeah, look, if he gets a start in that, he's emergency for the Cup, so I think if he gets a start in that, he'd be hard to beat.
Okay. Just looking at it, there's a few there that have got, you know, good recent form, but from barrier 1, he'll take some catching.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. He only just got beaten last week behind Gleneagle VCs. That's Tozzy's Son. What about in race 8? Keen to get your thoughts here on La Sabina. You know this mare well. She's got good speed. Can she lead?
Look, I no doubt that she could lead if we wanted her to. I just have to talk to Davey and see what he wants to do. But she has got the right speed to put it in the position you want her. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the strongest race on paper, is it, for the mares?
Not overly, no.
Okay, so that gives her a good hope then, given that she's got gate 3, she's got speed. If you utilise it, she can probably lead or take the trail. She's going to be in a good spot.
Yeah, like, if she turns up, she'll be thereabouts as well.
Okay. Which drive are you most looking forward to?
Probably Tossie's son, drawn the 1.
Okay, race 7, number 1, Tossie's son. Intriguing drive, they love gun. All the best with that one. Hopefully you can get him away.
Let's hope so.
There he is, Adam Richardson joining it. We'll see him trackside on Saturday night. As always, a big thanks to our 2 drivers giving up their time and insights ahead of the weekend, Angus and Adam. We wish them all the very best of luck. Time now to find a winner for this 9-race program, and we're going to go nice and early. Race 2, number 9, Sweet Georgia Brown in this mare's race. I think they've found the right race. She's got a nice trailing draw, and I thought the run last week behind her stablemate, Mickey Magic, in a really fast time of 1:52 was good. Hoping they go hard early. She's got that nice trailing draw. She'll be strong at the end, marking her as the best. Race 2, number 9, Sweet Georgia Brown. If you are gambling this weekend, please do so responsibly. This is our final weekend winners for the year. So I'd like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in the new year, 2025.